Welcome to Future You, a webinar series brought to you by Risk Education. And this is where we solve the issue that's been kind of nagging in your brain for a long time. Like, are you in the rightful place? You might be thinking on a good Friday afternoon after work, am I doing the right job? Is this my true worth? And during the next hour, we will explore ways and means in terms of accounting, how we can help you out. Of course, with our panelists being here, we have a wealth of experience and knowledge that we will impart with you. And of course, let's see how we go take it on from there. And as I mentioned out to you before, today's event is, as actually see all everywhere, it's Brisk Education, and join with Brisk Education to lay the foundation for your career and upskill yourself in both technical and soft skills to become that successful Australian accountant that you want to be. And this session is ideally arranged as a webinar, so you won't be able to really talk out loud. But if you do have any questions, let us know, mainly because we would be discussing these towards the latter part of the session. And without further ado, I'm just going to jump in to our panelist, and I'll just give a brief overview. We have from Briska, she's Chief Growth Officer, and then we have Olujai Surya, who's the Chief Operating Officer, and then we have Rakesh Nayan, Director, Accountant Support at Briska, and then we have Jana Tamrutunga, who heads the operations of Brisk Education, and then we have Ajit Pereira, and then Steve David, representing the student cohort body of Brisk Education, the successful pass outs from the first batch. So, Ruth, my first question is to you. You are an accomplished professional in your field. You have a background in finance, worked in, I would say, a number of fields. With your experience, what do you think are the current trends and opportunities for accountants in Australia that you can impart on our lovely audience today?
Yeah, so first of all, accounting in Australia is very in demand. There's a lot of companies looking to expand their team, especially onshore. So there's definitely been a shift towards having that interaction within the team. I also noticed that there's been a push towards automation in the last couple years, especially since the whole thing happened with COVID. People did actually go more remote, but now we're starting to see a shift towards coming back to the office, but they still want to keep that hybrid model where things are still more remote and automated. So for example, like they're integrating different systems that can help with innovation and streamlining systems and processes. It's also giving a lot of people in Australia that room for growth. So for example, a lot of people have been hired on as they started maybe as a freelancer during COVID and became familiar with like how the space was in that region. And then once they've proven their self and their work, they were able to really move up the ladder. So for example, some people are even jumping up to become financial controllers from like a junior level. And then yeah, so that's been I've seen that kind of shift, and there's a lot more trust in automation now. So for example, before a lot of people were doing I've noticed that teams were doing things by the books, so even some people were doing by hand their calculations, and you're seeing a lot more companies now actually hiring on full teams to internally do their accounting work. So that's definitely something I've seen, and across all different industries. So it's not just, for example, mining's a big industry in Australia. So accounting firms, not just accounting firms, but there's accounting firms for different industries. So that's kind of, you're not set to just working on, say, accounting for mining. You can go diversify and say you're interested in tech, there's like accounting positions for tech. There's
Okay.
accounting positions across, like I said, a wide array of different fields. So
Lovely,
yeah.
lovely. So Australia is a country of opportunities, and as you rightfully
Oh,
talk
there's
about,
heaps of opportunities in
it
Australia right
is.
now, and it's such an in-demand field that um, they're willing to pay like the price to have someone who's really educated and has that background and knowledge and interest in like growing professionally.
Beautiful, beautiful. And as they say, I mean, being based out of Melbourne, I have heard the phrase that accountants are more valuable than gold these days, mainly
Yeah,
because of
because
the shortage.
that's the thing.
Correct me if I'm
People
wrong.
tend to leave
Yeah.
pretty early on because they get like sick of the repetitiveness. But now with the automation, it's not as repetitive anymore because you have systems in place to actually take care of that repetitive, so called like actions. And it makes it
Yes,
more fun and enjoyable for actually the actual accountant who has to do the job. It makes your life easier as well.
it is. It is. So gone are the days that accounting was regarded as the mundane, boring job, 9 to 5, stick to a rigid framework and all that. Correct me if I'm wrong, isn't it?
Right, and there's a lot more flexibility in Australia as well. So Australians, the work environment is very different from a lot of other places in the world. For example, people care about work-life balance, which is something that isn't respected in other
Yes.
parts of the world. So,
Yes.
for example, my background, well, I'm from the United States originally, and people just are expected to be in the office for the sake of being in the office, not for productivity. Whereas in Australia, it's more as long as you get the work done and get it done right, you will have a great work-life balance.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks, bro. Thank you so much. As she correctly put out there, it's a land full of opportunities, and especially for accountants, you can never, ever, ever go wrong. So, all the audience here, you're in the rightful path. So, let's see how we take it on from there. Rakesh, you are the tax accountant out of all of us, and as I like to call you, you're the tax guru, pretty much. And in terms of career paths available for Australian tax accountants, how can you identify and pursue opportunities? And let's be frank, not all of us are lucky enough to cross the seas and come and establish in Australia. How can you pursue of being a tax accountant from anywhere in the world?
Thanks for asking the question, Sanjay. Uh, I think the career paths for, I suppose, tax accountants in general, you'd start out in public accounting, where you're processing, depends on the size of the business, but they range from small and medium right up to large enterprises. And you're dealing with what we traditionally call compliance, which is preparing tax returns, activity statements, pretty much, I like to call it the stuff that keeps the business owners out of jail. So it can seem a little bit dry. Maybe some people find it a bit boring. I actually like looking at that sort of stuff. It's interesting, and that's one option. The other option is you can go in and work for a big corporation, and you provide the internal finance function. You could be a chief financial officer within the organization. Once you've got that foundational knowledge as a tax accountant, it allows you to then branch into different areas. So you can also decide you want to work on government and regulatory bodies. That sort of work involves funding from the government, and you're overseeing a project. You might be looking at rail projects, construction, things in the mining sector as well, potentially in the like building dams and that kind of thing. We've got the Olympics coming up, so while there is a shortage of qualified accountants, a lot of them are tied in roles where they're probably getting paid a reasonable sum, and competition's fierce for those roles, but it's also something that recruiting for is very difficult. If you don't want to have that sort of a role, you can look at consulting and doing what's called advisory.
All right.
Advisory is a very broad concept. it encompasses all sorts of things, and you can ask two different people anyway what their definition of advisory is, and they'll probably come back with a different response every time. So the way I look at that is you're providing more of a guiding role for the business owner. You're helping them address different issues within their business that they wouldn't normally think of, and you're not talking about it or talking at it from purely a compliance perspective. If you wanted to do more of the import-export stuff, transfer pricing, looking at international tax, think, football players moving to tax havens and places where they pay little to no tax. Obviously, that's tax avoidance, but international tax helps our clients look at those sort of aspects. So if you wanted to set up an operation offshore, or you're helping a client deal with something in your home country, you don't necessarily need to be there, but if you have that underlying knowledge, you can assist them with those sort of issues. And then obviously, if you don't want to actually work in and practice doing the technical side of accounting, you can become a scholar and help people learn how to become better accountants. So, I think the career paths are, I wouldn't say endless, but there's multiple career paths. One that I haven't mentioned yet is something Brooke alluded to before, was within the tech space. I'm seeing more and more accountants going down the tech path, where they're assisting businesses from a systems audit perspective. So looking at computers, how those interact with the underlying accounting principles. And then from there, you start looking at things like forensic accounting, insolvency, restructuring, those sort of things.
Lovely. So, Rakesh, you said, I don't want to say endless, but you spoke of endless opportunities, and starting from being your usual tax accountant, going into being a tax consultant for even celebrities, and then also being in advisory, forensic accounting, international standards, transfer pricing. So it's multiple, and also being an academic. As a immigrant, this is a question that has been kind of in my mind, and I'm pretty sure it's there amongst many people who want to immigrate as well. Now, when it comes to certain fields such as advisory, is culture going to be a barrier, or is it not barrier at all? What are your thoughts?
I think it comes down to mindset.
Okay.
So you have what's called a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. A fixed mindset is I guess you can call them mental barriers. You create these barriers to being able to achieve something. Whereas if you adopt a growth mindset, anything's possible. So I think to answer your question, with a little bit of training and maybe exposure to different cultures, you then start to adopt and adapt to more of the Australian culture. So Brooke mentioned something along these lines earlier as well, whereby Australians are very open and easygoing. We're one of the most multicultural countries in the world. And I've noticed, because I've worked and lived elsewhere, the openness to people who have a different cultural background over here in Australia. I don't think it's matched by anywhere else in the world. Like I said, people here are very welcoming, and they like to understand foreign cultures. So I think it's a learning process from both the incumbent as well as someone who's already here in Australia.
Ideally, yes, because I personally came across an experience where they were saying having multiple cultures is the reason why the organization is successful, and they strive to do that as well. So thanks a lot, Rakesh. Lovely insights, as you told. At the end of the day, what's holding you back is not your culture, your race, your age, your education, but rather it's yourself. And if you want to discover the future you, having a growth mindset and being open to anything and everything in terms of your career path is the way to go. Thank you, Rakesh. Thanks a lot. So now I'm going to turn to Odu. Odu, you're the Chief Operating Officer. And Briska is the mother company. That's what I would love to call. Out of all the initiatives that you could think of as to sustain the business and give back to the society or whichever, why Brisk Education? And we would love to know behind the screens as to how it happened, how it came into being, your thoughts as part of the senior leadership.
Yeah, good question, Sanjay. Thanks for the question. So Rakesh and Brooke said a lot of opportunities in Australia. So there are a couple of main reasons, Sanjay.
Yeah.
Firstly, since we have been servicing for the Australian market for more than 8 years, we see a clear potential for Sri Lankans to become the preferred BPO destination in the world.
Yeah.
However, the most significant barrier in front of us is to transform our accountants to suit the accounting requirements in developed countries. It's within a short period of time, it's hard to do, Sanjay.
Yes, it's
For
not easy.
Yeah. For example, businesses, including even our clients in Australia, they need skilled and experienced accounting personnel, Sanjay,
Yes.
to hand over their accounting functions as soon as they sign up, because we don't have a waiting time or a grace period there, Sanjay.
Yeah.
So means we can't take time. So they are a bit hesitant to hire inexperienced accountants and train them. They don't waste their time on training us, basically. So we see this challenge and wanted to design a system that enables us to train more and more accountants and smooth the supply of trained accountants from Sri Lanka to Australia.
Yeah.
So that's the main reason. So the second reason is, Sanjay, as we all know, right? Remote working became the norm during and after the COVID-19 pandemic. It was an unfortunate situation for the world, but it was an opportunity for the BPO sector, Sanjay. So we see this trend will continue for the future as well. And more people and BPOs in Sri Lanka, we can get accounting assignments from Australia if we show the proper training and experience skills. And also Briska as a company, we want to help Sri Lankan accountants. We have good accountants, skilled accountants, Sanjay, but we need to develop them not only on the technical skills, but there are also specific soft skills they need to improve. As Rakesh and Brooke correctly mentioned, we are catering to a multicultural community there. So we have to improve a lot of specific soft skills and technical skills as accountant, especially working in remotely. Sanjay, can I ask you a question?
Please go ahead.
So do you remember how many businesses in Sri Lanka were forced to shut down temporarily or permanently during the pandemic?
Can't really come up with a number, but I'm pretty sure it's plenty.
Yeah. So how many people lost their jobs? How many of them experienced pay cuts?
Many of them.
Yeah. But I'm happy to say, not selfish, the BPO sector was one of the few sectors doomed during the pandemic, Sanjay.
Yeah.
And we didn't lay off a single team member. Instead, we added more to our team, and no staff received any pay cut. Instead, they got pay raises. But this was not easy, Sanjay. Yeah. So we faced a severe skill gap among our recruits during the expansion period, and we had to work hard to develop them while managing our pressing issues. So coming back to your original question, Sanjay, you wanted to know about the setting up of this Briska Education, right?
Yes.
So, right. So Briska Education, you see today, It is not an outcome of an overnight work. It's a tremendous effort of many people to give this birth. Yes, it is Briska's child, but it is the effort of many people. So we will continue to refine our training program to provide the best experience to our students and Sri Lankan accountants, Sanjay.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Olu. I just got another question, but before that, I would like to share a bit of experience that I encountered today at a conference in Melbourne. They were asking, so we were just sharing business ideas, and he was asking about how exactly do you retain talent? And Brisk Education is something that I kind of explained to him, and he was awed, and I felt proud. And what we clearly highlighted was good talent, or I would say great talent, is hard to come by. And once you find great talent, it's even harder to retain.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't it? And then in those cases, I'm pretty sure, as you said, it's not a bed of roses where we kind of build platform of what you see today in Brisk Education. Has it been in your plans, or I would say the senior leadership's plan, for a long time, or did it come out of the pandemic where you told that we or BPOs saw some exponential growth?
Yeah, like setting up the Brisk Education, like we faced this challenge of during the expansion period, Sanjay, honestly, because earlier we had organic growth in our company.
Yes.
So we had enough time to recruit people and train them. We were able to spend like 3 to 6 months to train an accountant of soft skills. But during the pandemic, with the unexpected growth, I would say, so we were struggling to get that training within a short period of time. So that's the starting point. We started thinking of setting up a proper education system. It's benefit to our company as well as the society, Sanjay. It's not only for Briska, it's for the industry.
Yes, exactly. And then giving back to finance, giving back to society, giving back to people is, I would say, the larger overall purpose of business, because business of business is not only doing business, but rather looking at the wider community. So thanks a lot, Olu. Thank you so much. And then, as she correctly put out there, it's not a brainchild that was born in 1 or 2 nights. It's been a journey. So without that, before just jumping into Jana, I have a brief introduction that's going to just highlight as to what everyone's saying about with Briska Education. So I'm just going to share it out there. And let's see how it is. Is my screen visible to all of you?
Yes, Sanjay.
Yes.
Lovely. I'm just going to play it out there.
Begin your global accounting career here and now. We at Briska BPO have been providing accounting, finance, and reporting support for businesses in Australia and New Zealand for several years. While doing so, we observe the opportunities open in the foreign markets for talented Sri Lankans on the one hand, and on the other, the scarcity of accountants in Sri Lanka who are conversant with the accounting procedures and systems used in those countries. Briska Education is launched to bridge this void in the market by educating young individuals who are already in the accounting field and those who wish to embark on an accounting career in the BPO sector. We are confident that with years of day-to-day exposure and experience behind us, Briska is in a solid position to embark on such a venture. We also believe that if properly trained and motivated, young Sri Lankans could master any formidable task in any field of work. We use modern cloud platforms to deliver our courses and use the best resource personnel in Australia to conduct the training. We intend to take the prospective candidates methodically through one of the 2 courses of study available. They will be imparted the necessary know-how of the different tools used and exposed to real situations in their respective study paths. On completion of the course, they become thoroughly competent and job ready to take up appointments in their chosen fields. So what benefits await successful candidates at the end of the course? Well, firstly, a prominent plus mark would be added to their CV. Remarkably talented candidates who meet our eligibility criteria could join the Brisker team. With their enhanced capabilities, they would be sought after for employment but by other BPO companies in Sri Lanka. As they are equipped with the know-how and the experience gained beforehand, those migrating to Australia or New Zealand for employment could easily fit into available positions in the accounting field. Those who are exceptionally talented and keen to start up a business in the BPO sector on their own could do so without any hesitation. So will we wash our hands off and leave you to fend for yourself at the end of the course? Most certainly not. You will be part of the Brisker education community and we will look after you further. We will continually brief you on the innovations that will happen in the accounting sector. We will admit you free of charge to webinars conducted by us, and we will inform you of employment opportunities in the BPO job market. So join Brisker Education and begin your global accounting career with us. Thank you.
Okay, that's the first time I saw that video particularly, and Jayanath, I want to enroll myself for the next batch because that's so enticing. All right, and that leads to you because you're the head of operations, so the brainchild that Olu and the senior leadership came up with, you're going to assemble it. You're going to make it grow. All right, so my question to you is, ideally, how exactly are the programs rolled out at Brisker Education? Because the audience would love to know, is there a mix? How exactly? More details, up to you.
Yes, Sanjay. We have developed a learning management system, so which is our learning portal. So from the learning portal, we deliver our course content as recorded sessions, live workshops, and mentoring sessions, and so on. As you all know, with the technology transformation, learning has become more flexible and accessible than ever before. Recorded sessions are testament to this evolution. We have pre-recorded sessions as lectures, tutorials, and presentations. The beauty of these sessions is the convenience and the flexibility. To develop these recordings, we have used many resources, time, and many investment to give best for the students. As Olu mentioned, we are continually developing it. Some recordings we have did again to give the best output. So our recording sessions can be accessed from anywhere and there is no technological barriers. And the recording sessions can be paused, rewind, and rewatch. So then the students can learn it from their own space. And it will be easy for them to understand the complex accountancy concepts. And our recording sessions is beneficial for visual and auditory learners too, because they can learn through watching and listening. While recorded sessions offer flexibility, our workshop is conducted in real time, allowing students to interact directly with our instructors and fellow students. The interaction is crucial for many reasons. Recently, I have got feedbacks from the current batch, and they are telling that our workshop is interesting and they love the workshop very well. So this is where the magic happens. So let's see why it is. So when a student joins for a workshop, they can get the immediate feedback and the clarification. So if they get any questions, they can ask at the same time. because our workshop is live. And collaborative learning. So normally workshop is conducted with a group of students so they can share their perspective, their experience, and also some tasks they are doing as a group. And in our workshop, we have included practical exercise that simulate real-world scenarios. When you learn theoretical knowledge with some practical scenarios, you can gain wider knowledge and it is easier to understand and remember too. And when students involving in the workshop, students' critical thinking and problem solving skills is developing, and it's invaluable in the professional world. And also we have mentoring sessions, which we provide through our learning portal. It will give guidance, personalized guidance for our students. So our mentors provide insights that go beyond textbooks and lectures. So our mentors will share their experience, the industry strengths, and advices for students for their career development, which will helpful for students to develop their career. So these sessions will help students to overcome their challenges in their learning journey. So when it comes to our resource personnel, we have local and Australian resource personnel. So this will add diversity for students' curriculum. Our experts will provide wealth of knowledge and experience. With local experts, they will get insights about the local industry. And from the Australian personnel, they will get the insights about the Australia and their examples. So ultimately, when this knowledge is combined, and the experience they get, it will helpful for them to work in Australia and Australian firms.
Yes.
In conclusion, Briska Education is a blend of recorded sessions, live workshop, mentoring sessions, and diverse resource personnel offers comprehensive and interactive learning experience. It not only equips students with necessary knowledge and skills, but also prepares them for dynamic and evolving world of accountancy.
Thanks a lot, Jana, for that detailed answer. As you told, live workshops, recorded sessions, mentoring, and you clearly articulated in a couple of words, that's where the magic happens. All right, so we create magicians in terms of accountants, and as you clearly told, not that we discount qualifications, education, that's pretty much the crown jewel, but when it comes to experience, there are a lot of employers out there who gives preference to that as well. So which means it's going to be a mix and match and a well-balanced layout that has to have income, that has to happen or get inculcated in any of the candidates, and it's more or less of a job ready and an industry ready qualification. Am I right, Jana?
Yes, Sanjay.
All right, so there you go. Briska Education, industry ready, makes you industry ready. All right, so we might speak highly of ourselves, but rather, and we can be trumpeting out loud with nights to come. But the best is to come up with the ones who went through the program themselves. And before I invite Stephen, Ajit, I'm just going to play another short video.
Begin your global accounting career here and now. Welcome to start your career in the BPO sector, one of the fastest growing businesses in the world, where Sri Lanka is recognized as one of the preferred emerging digital hubs in the world. Join us to lay the foundation for your future career with foreign and local industry experts who will craft your technical and soft skills to prepare you to serve as an accountant in the finance divisions of both small and medium-scale companies in Australia and New Zealand. The mode of delivery would be online, and the method of study would be delivered as self-study basis and via interactive workshops with Australian trainers. We utilize the following 4 steps in providing the training, such as recorded sessions for self-learning, interactive workshops with industry experts, hands-on experience in software and processes, alongside a practical assessment at the end of each module. Currently, the courses offered by Brisker Education would be 2 training courses, specifically a job-ready training in Australian accounting and bookkeeping, as well as a job-ready training in Australian taxation.
So there you go. What Joannath articulated in his answer, summarized in the video as we clearly saw. Now let's jump to our clever passouts from the first cohort. And Steve, I'm turning towards you as the first testimonial. You're that young budding professional which I saw myself in, say, a long time ago. Not that I'm old, but one that I saw in myself a long time back. And pretty sure with certain macro conditions in Sri Lanka and wherever, and of course your aspirations as to well, where you want to see yourself grow. Why did you choose this program, Brisk Education specifically, out of a plethora of other programs? And why? Just let us know.
Yeah. Thank you, Sanjay, for the question. So yeah, I just choose this question, this education program, because in future I just have a plan to migrate for the Australia, and I just want to have a proper background of the occupation that I'm doing now in Brisker BPO, and where it gives me such intention, like I would like to work in a field of accounting where it gives a wider content to make my upskills more in following the Brisker education course in bookkeeping. So as a part of the BPO, Brisker BPO, it helps me to master the accounting softwares in a well-known in Australia, such as Xero, Myob, and QuickBooks. So in addition to that, we have certain hands-on practice in the courses, so that it helps me really to be normal career work as well. Like normally in a BPO sector has my part of the work, I just go through all these specific tools, and part of that in the course also it went through, so that it gives me a wider knowledge. So as a part in the Brisker education, has my experience, the lectures was more precise in addition, and it gives a transparent in their content, which matches the overall expectation of the course. And it gives a knowledge in part to the wire course, which has a broader my knowledge, and it sharpen an overall perception of the Brisker education. So especially it gives me the facts within just 3 months and a span knowledge of these similar softwares, and it's more harder to catch up in soon. But in this Brisker education, it gives me a soon catch up of these tools more quicker. But last not least, it just walked through me the practical sessions through the hands-on practices of these accounting softwares, which deems me to rare to find, which I feel an extremely fortunate opportunity for me as Brisker education. Thank you.
Lovely. You said fortunate opportunity. Can I re-quote it as fortunate accident that you ended up with us, or how is it?
Yeah.
You could say it that way as well. All right, just one more question to you. Let's just forget that we are there. And you said that you're part of Brisker BPO as well.
Yeah.
How do you find your time there? Because we know that the cream of the students who go through, we give them the opportunity to join us as a long, sustainable relationship with them. Let's just forget Olu is there. Let's just forget Rakesh is there. Let's just forget even Am or whichever is there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would lovely to know. So no takeaways as well. How is your time with Briska?
Yeah. As a member of the Briska BPO, I'm really happy to work with those colleagues. They are really friendly, and has Ms. Olu, she's the CEO, and she was really helpful. And she, if there's any mistakes, she's making up them. And the colleagues are really helpful, and it's a more eco-friendly place,
Okay.
and they help each other. And in a I mean, in a worse scenario and a good scenario, they are all get together and they're working like mates, like siblings, I mean. And a part of that, it's really, I think, joining, as my opinion, I'm saying join Briska BPO because it's such a friendly and good working skill. We are getting more practice and getting more training. And yeah,
All right.
I'm
While
really
you were
grateful
answering,
to
yeah,
join
lovely.
the BPO sector of
Exactly.
Briska.
When you were answering, Steve,
Yeah.
you did realize Olu and Janath were looking at you so fondly. All right.
Yeah.
So which ideally
Yes.
means that, yeah. And as you told, you used a particular word as mates. And we know in Australia, the word mates is used everywhere. There you go. All right. It sounded more like a family. And of course, I'm so jealous of you guys standing here alone. All right, like an island, but out there you have a family and a community to help you there. So
Yes.
kudos to you on a job well done on following the course and being part of the team. And you have a long journey ahead of you. Wishing you all the very best, Steve.
Thank
Thanks
you
so
so
much.
much, Sanjay. Thank you so
All right,
much.
now I'm turning towards Ajit. Ajit, you're at the other end of your corporate career as in a seasoned finance executive. I know by your introduction that you are decorated with various accolades. You're a fellow member of Chartered Accountants in Sri Lanka, and then, as you told us, you would be flying off during the weekend to get your PhD as well. So advanced wishes on that. And you being at the other end of the spectrum, as opposed to Steve, what kind of value did you derive out of Brisk Education? If you can just share with us your experience.
Thank you, Sanjay. Thank you, Sanjay. And thank you for inviting me as well. Let me explain my context first. Actually, I had the Australia PR a long time back. It got expired, maybe because I didn't want to move. And then thereafter, I was with the plan of reapplying for resident return visa. And at that time only, I got to know about this program through one of my friends in Australia. Just to tell you, I have got my resident return visa, so I'll be back in Australia.
Congratulations.
And, yeah, in soon. So I was getting ready to apply. At that time, I got to know about this program. And when I read the brochure itself, I found this is a program that I should definitely participate, because I could remember my friends who were in 30s those days when I got my PR for the first time. That was in 2007-8 time. And they were struggling to find a job even after getting qualification, full qualified chartered accountant, and after getting a lot of experience in the Sri Lankan market. Once they entered the market in Australia, they could find it difficult to find initial jobs. I think first year was very tough. And there were friends of me, of course, who went through the hardships, even economic hardships, because they couldn't find the right job. And especially because they were not ready for the Australian market, though they got the PR, been here, applied because of the chartered accountant status, but they had issues settling as well as getting basically their readiness to the Australian market. So when I saw that I'm going to go back to Australia, but thereafter in my career, of course, I moved from finance. Okay, I came up and then I went into sales and marketing. I worked with many PLCs and also with some international companies, and then finally into the general management. And now I'm in the strategy space, conducting some sessions with PwC and with some of the Sri Lankan companies as well. So, but when I decided that I want to go into Australia, even at the age of 50, and now I have to start my career from zero. So the finance is the strongest path that I had anyway. So I thought that, okay, I will get some memberships of different institutions later, but this will be a very good need filler at the beginning, because you have really struck in the middle, like compared to experience that one will get in Australian market and compared to these formal qualifications like CPA and CA Australia and New Zealand. I think you have filled the gap in between. So part of the qualifications, part of the theoretical knowledge, and part of the experience as well, you have inbuilt into the program. So I found out this from the brochure itself, and then I could participate in your introductory program as well. So with that, I thought that this will be the right program, and that was the purpose. That was the context that I was attracted to this program, and then thereafter the experience that I went through during the program was fantastic, because if you just come into Australia, I think this will go into many audience here, like who will enter as students, who will enter as with the PR status in the future to Australia. And you better know, because sometimes you get exposed to many things in Sri Lanka. But when you enter a new market like Australia, you should know the basic things first of all. But when you have a basic business and finance knowledge, I think that will be a very core knowledge for your career, because that's how I grew, even in terms of handling businesses later on. I could contribute from different perspectives. I started from finance, but I have grown into many businesses and also many functions in organizations. So I think the finance was the strength always. So that's why I wanted to gain that basic knowledge back again when I'm entering into Australia. So I wanted to start from zero, but without starting from zero, why don't you have this kind of exposure in a program like this, where you will know all the basics of finance, business, tax. And with that, I think you will be comfortable with the terminology. You will be comfortable with the reports structure. You will be comfortable with the softwares being used. Of course, I have been exposed to the ERPs like SAP as well. But of course, Australia, most of the SMEs are using these accounting softwares that we discussed during the programs. So that was, I think, a wonderful gap filler. I think I never felt that this was the first program that you were conducting, and you were so mature. And the commitment, Saturday at 6 o'clock in the morning, and every day after day, even I think you had more commitment than us as audience. So I think that was a real program. I think that is needed. That was a shortened, and within a 3 months period. It was tough, but it was real stress. At the same time, of course, it is like that because we don't have time to waste. So this is a kind of program that you should continue. I think you can add, you would have got a lot of learnings during the program. So with that, I think you will be able to more contribute in the future for other programs as well. And I felt this is a very mature program, even though it was the first program. And I think you will be able to grow beyond this in the programs to come in the future. Sanjay?
Yes, ideally, as you told, upwards and onwards, not downwards and spiral. All right. So as you clearly told, I'm just going to take a few points. A lead filler, all right, that's actually what we are addressing in the market. So we are gonna use that particular word in our campaigns, marketing campaigns. Thanks a lot for that word, but that's exactly what we're doing. Addressing the gap that the reciprocal qualifications as CP Australia or CA, that's there, but we are bridging the gap. And yeah, I mean, you don't look a day past 35 for me when you said 50, but then yeah. And then as you said, just gonna take a few, just one more question. You said that there are some things that we have to know before we step into the Australian market. Can you just name maybe 3 things that a person with an accounting background, or I would say in the caliber of maybe Steve, when they come and set foot there, what could be the top 3 things that they have to know?
Okay, as a summary, of course, I would say it's better that you get exposed to these accounting softwares. That is one thing.
Yeah.
And the second thing is, of course, how the corporate world works. And in terms of, not only in terms of accounting, in terms of normal business practices, how the corporate world works. I think you touch upon that side as well in your program in the initial sessions.
Yes.
Basically with the Australian business culture and things like that. I know within a short program like that, you will not be able to cover everything. But it's kind of Australian orientation for business and finance. So that is the second thing. The third thing will be the terminology and the tax, because if you look at anybody who is moving to Australia, even on student visa, even on any other different category of visa, they want to know about the taxation system. So being finance, being tax background people, of course, when you know that, of course, you are really strong to guide any other people, even from Sri Lanka, even from the companies, SMEs who are there, who much do not understand the taxation system. Of course, you will be able to learn faster and guide them. So I know that we have not yet gone through the taxation, the course, but of course, even in accounting course, you gave certain backgrounds. I think that basic program is useful. So what I would like to suggest is, I have a suggestion for you. I have many suggestions, but we will talk separately. I have one suggestion. You can even cut down some of the deeper parts of the softwares of this program, cut and chop. You can introduce this as a general orientation for the Australian market for business and finance. So that will be a different program. I'm just thinking loud. So those are I think, the enlightenments that I would like to share with you.
Thanks a lot for that strategic advice as well. Olu, Joanna, note it out. It's coming from a strategic consultant at PwC.
Thanks, Ajit, for the suggestion.
Yeah, so
Yes,
it's
thanks, Ajit.
thanks a lot. Thank you, because whatever
Welcome.
not is welcome at the end of the day, because as I told, it's upwards and onwards from here. And yeah, thank you so much, Ajit. Thanks a lot for being part of today as well. And as he clearly articulated, when it comes to culture, it's an entirely topsy-turvy one. Being located, remotely, in terms of tyranny, it's also the time zone, so it's entirely topsy-turvy. But of course, anyone and everyone can survive over here in the corporate culture, as we clearly highlighted. So I'm just going to take a couple of questions from the audience. The first question I'm going to get Olu to kind of answer. It says, can you get a job offer from following this program?
Yes, exactly, Sanjay. But it depends on the assessment and the scores and the performance, right? It's not only the final assessment, but we are having at the end of the course. We get the continuous feedback from coaches on the skills and the competencies demonstrated by the student at the live workshops. So if they are having a very good interactive session with the coaches, participation at the live workshops, yes, definitely they have a chance, Sanjay.
Lovely, lovely. As you told, at the end of the day, it's how you sell yourself at the interview, and of course, Brisk Education will help in whatever and whatnot. And the second question, I'm just gonna throw it at rather get Joanna's help on this. It says, do we have any planned intakes in coming months? I know there is, but Joanna, do we have like a definite plan as to when the next intake is happening?
Yes, so we have the next intake in this month. So we are starting it in 29th May.
Okay.
So if anyone interested, they can contact our hotline. So our hotline number is 076 44 11 700. And they can go to our website also for more details, which is www.briskaedu.com.
Thank you, Joanna. As he told, www.briskaedu.com for the more details. And of course, you could connect with us. And I believe there is our sales team and our operations team, whichever from Brisk Education, will help them, isn't it?
Yes, definitely.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Joanna. And yeah, that's about it for the questions. And then I'm just going to part ways because it's pretty late over there in Australia for Rakesh. It's already 12:45. Thank you, Rakesh. Thanks a lot for staying up. And then, same for Brooke as well. It's pretty early over there. And Thank you, Ajay. Thanks a lot for taking time off your busy schedule and being with us. Steve, the same goes to you after a hectic day. And then Olu, I know for a fact that you've been there for a long time from morning hours. So but this is a lovely session. I would love to be personally be part of it as well. And Jana, last but not least, thanks a lot for being part of the session and also being so cooperative as well in terms of session and the organizing and so on and so forth. And if there are no more questions, or is there anything that our panelists would like to add before we part ways? All right, nothing at all. But then at the end of the day, wishing everyone all the very best on their journey. Discover the future here, because at the end of the day, what's holding you back is no one but yourself. And education is there to give you that little nudge in whatever that we can to help you discover and achieve what you want to. Right? So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for being a lovely audience.
Thank you, Sanjay.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Sanjay.
Sanjay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you,
All the
Rakesh.
best.
Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Good night.
Mr. Gordon.
Bye-bye. Good
Bye-bye.
night.
Good night.
Bye. Good night.